There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever. Meghan Markle was a pretty expensive yacht girl and she knows it. A lot of you have already seen this picture. You can see that's Meghan wearing her kahuna hat. It all started on a regular night in London. A quiet Mayfair party filled with fancy crystal glasses, silk dresses, and the kind of laughing that hides secrets. Everything happened because of Fergie. In that dimly lit room, Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, leaned across the table and said something that made everyone freeze. Let's just say Meghan was Andrew's first client. The room went cold. Someone dropped a fork. For a moment, nobody moved. Meghan Markle was introduced by Sarah Ferguson to Prince Harry. Everyone knew what those words meant and what kind of mess they could cause. Within hours, the rumor had escaped the walls of that private room and rushed through the royal hallways. He said Miss Markle was a close companion to Prince Andrew. By morning, Buckingham Palace was on fire. Not with actual flames, but with panic. Phones rang all night long. Advisors whispered behind closed doors, and Prince Harry, far away in Montecito, was said to be super angry and confused. One sentence, 7 words, and suddenly the entire royal family was holding its breath. Meghan Markle was introduced through Marcus Anderson to Sarah Ferguson. You understand why that whisper hit so hard? You have to understand who said it. Sarah Ferguson isn't just any duchess. She's the royal survivor, a woman who has fallen from grace more times than anyone can count. From the tabloid scandals in the 90s to her public money problems, Fergie has lived her entire life on the edge of royal acceptance. Every time the palace pushed her out, she found a way back in, smiling, charming, and acting like nothing ever happened. She knows the game better than anyone because she's played it longer than anyone. So, when this woman, a duchess who's been silenced and brought back again and again, says something that connects Meghan Markle to Prince Andrew, people listen. According to People, she started her yachting days and she never really stopped. I don't think any of her boyfriends knew about it, but Meghan Markle was known as a hardcore yacht party person, ready for anything. Sources say it wasn't an accident. It wasn't a mistake. It was a move. A planned strike timed perfectly to make an impact. Fergie's comment wasn't just gossip. It was like dynamite. Because when she talks, the palace remembers everything she's capable of. Before the tiaras, the Netflix deals, and the royal drama, there was simply Meghan Markle, an actress with big dreams and a relentless drive to climb. She was a yacht girl. That's right. It's mentioned in the book. Meghan used to entertain as a yacht girl. Now, I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it happened, but I am saying Harry knows it. Hollywood wasn't kind to newcomers. The roles were small, the rent was high, and the doors to the top stayed locked unless you knew where to knock, allegedly. During those years, Meghan started appearing in certain elite social circles, the kind that never make it to the gossip pages. There were private yacht parties off the coast of the Mediterranean. Fancy gatherings where the world's rich and powerful mix behind closed decks. On these yachts, deals were made, introductions were arranged, and every smile had a price. And I wonder if Prince Andrew's going to come out and say, "Hey Harry, I was with your wife quite a few times on yachts before you got her." Sources claim that Meghan, young and ambitious, was part of that scene, not as a celebrity, but as someone who understood how to network. She could walk into a room full of billionaires and leave with every eye on her. These were the so-called yacht days, a mysterious chapter of her life filled with unproven stories, half-seen photos, and whispered connections. No one can say for sure what really happened there. But it's exactly that cloud of mystery that made Fergie's words so dangerous. Because by saying Meghan was Andrew's first client, Fergie wasn't just stirring up old gossip. She was linking Meghan's forgotten past to one of the most scandal-ridden names in royal history. And in the royal world, perception can destroy faster than proof. And we also have this. This is Karina Shuliak, Epstein's girlfriend. And the only time she traveled and went anywhere was with him. And guess who's on the other end? With her hat and a pen. To understand the fire Fergie lit, you must first understand the man standing in its center, Prince Andrew. For years, Andrew lived like a man who had no limits. He was the prince who flew private jets, stayed on private islands, and called billionaires his friends. He didn't just live in luxury, he breathed it. His world was small, private, and fiercely protected. A circle of wealth and privilege that revolved around him like planets around the sun. Jeffrey Epstein was also Harvey Weinstein. Very well known. There were members. Meghan Markle was just one of the working girls for Soho House. Call girl, working girl, escort, whatever you want to call it. That's what she was. There were the yachts, gleaming white giants floating in the Mediterranean where champagne never stopped pouring and the guest lists were always secret. Powerful businessmen, socialites, models, and young actresses would come aboard. Everyone looking for something. Everyone playing a role. According to sources close to that world, Prince Andrew enjoyed being at the center of it. The host, the gatekeeper, the man who could open doors others couldn't. And that's what made Fergie's remark, Meghan was Andrew's first client, so explosive. Because it didn't just hint at gossip. It suggested that years before she ever met Prince Harry, Meghan Markle had already crossed into Andrew's elite circle. A world tainted by scandal, secrecy, and the ghosts of Jeffrey Epstein's empire, Prince Andrew. Have you noticed how he completely avoids looking at Meghan Markle when she's around him or when she was around him? For Buckingham Palace, that connection, even as a whisper, was dangerous. One scandal was bad enough, but two, tied together, that could burn the monarchy to the ground. But how did Meghan even reach that world? How did a TV actress from Los Angeles step into the orbit of princes and duchesses? The answer, sources say, might lie with a man named Marcus Anderson. Marcus wasn't a royal, but he was something almost as powerful, a connector. He worked with Soho House, the private members club where the rich and famous crossed paths away from cameras. If you wanted to meet someone who mattered, a producer, a politician, a prince, Marcus could make it happen. Allegedly, it was Marcus who introduced Meghan to Sarah Ferguson. A casual introduction, maybe over champagne at a Soho House event, but one that changed everything. From that point on, Meghan's name started appearing on guest lists that once seemed unreachable. She mingled with people who were only a few degrees away from royal blood. And though no one could have guessed it then, that introduction would one day lead her straight to Prince Harry himself. And here we have Andrew with who looks like Marcus Anderson. This is in 2001 when Meghan Markle would have allegedly been in her third year. Meghan Markle hardly spent any time at Northwestern University, but when Fergie later said those 7 words, Meghan was Andrew's first client, it was Marcus' quiet connections that gave the story its backbone. Because if those social threads really existed, it meant Meghan didn't just stumble into royalty by luck. She had, knowingly or not, been walking that path for years. But why would Fergie say something like that now? What did she have to gain by dragging Meghan's name into Andrew's shadow? Some sources believe it was revenge. Quiet, cold revenge for the years she spent on the outside while Meghan enjoyed the royal attention Fergie never got. Others claim it was strategy, a way to remind the public that Fergie still had influence, that she could still shake the palace walls with a single sentence. But there's another theory whispered among insiders that she might have been trying to protect Andrew by attaching Meghan's name to his. She shifted the focus, created a new scandal to drown out the old one. Whatever her reason, one thing was clear. Fergie knew exactly what she was doing. Her entire life has been a dance between confession and chaos. And this time she wasn't stumbling, she was leading. Every word she dropped was like a breadcrumb leading the world deeper into a maze the palace could no longer control. And I know what you're going to say. Maybe it was just that one trip. No. There were quite a few trips. There's actually quite a lot of pictures of them. There are 2 pictures that leaked. While the palace fought to hold its image together, tension inside Montecito was rising fast. Sources close to Harry say he was furious, torn between rage and disbelief. Not only had his wife's name been tied to his disgraced uncle, but the person who said it was someone from his own family. She'd been a deal or no deal girl. She was calling herself a model and she was starring in a show called Suits. She used to charge almost $30,000 per trip, which is why she was making good money. It wasn't from Suits. It was from her yachting trips. Meghan, meanwhile, went silent. No interviews, no events, no appearances. Her team reportedly pulled back every public engagement, waiting for the story to fade. But instead, it grew because silence can sound louder than words. Behind the scenes, legal options were discussed, but the royal code made it complicated. How do you sue someone who's still technically family? Every move risked turning a rumor into a war. And that's what made it worse. The realization that this wasn't a media battle anymore. It was personal. And so we arrive at the quiet after the storm. Or what the palace hopes is quiet, because while the cameras have turned to new stories, the echo of Fergie's words still hangs in the air like smoke that won't clear. Sarah Ferguson walks freely through London now, smiling for photographers, acting as though nothing happened. But those who know her best say that smile isn't carelessness, it's calculation. Because Fergie understands something most people never will. In the royal world, power doesn't come from titles. It comes from what you know and what you're willing to say. Her whisper changed the royal story in a single night. It tangled Meghan's past with Andrew's scandals, reopened wounds the palace thought were long buried, and reminded everyone that no secret in that family ever stays buried for good. And as the world waits for the next royal revelation, one truth remains certain. Sarah Ferguson may no longer wear a crown, but she just proved she can still shake the throne. Because sometimes the most dangerous person in a royal family is the one who's already lost everything. Retry.